I like talking about baby names. And Hunter gets annoyed with me because I like talking about baby names. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video has a little bit weird lighting. If you see shadows and stuff, it's because I'm using my ring light and it is now 9:15. And why am I recording on my bed? Because it's comfortable. Anyway, this video is going to be on baby names that I love but won't be using. I have, how many do I have? 6 names for boy and 6 names for girl. I'll do the girl names first and then I'll do the boy names. The only thing to explain about this video is that if you don't know, I am currently 26 weeks pregnant with a baby boy and he is due on October 5th. And we don't know how many children we're going to have, so I don't know if there will be more kids in the future, but either way, we won't be using these names for the reasons I'm about to mention. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So for girl names, the first one that we wouldn't be using is the name Dahlia. And I love that name. I think it's so pretty, but the reason I wouldn't use it is that it's so similar to Aria in my mind. Maybe it's just they end in the sound. I don't know. That's the main reason why we wouldn't use that name, just because it sounds to me so similar to Aria. Dahlia, Aria, it just sounds too similar. Baby girl name number 2 that we wouldn't use but I really like is Raylan. This was the name that we were going to name Aria until I remembered that we watched a show on Amazon Prime called Justified. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Justified is like it's a very manly, like cowboy type show, and the main character, his name is Raylan. And ever since I realized that, I couldn't stop picturing him every time I heard the name Raylan. And Hunter and I like names that are very specific to gender just because we like the way they sound. So we like really feminine girl names and really masculine boy names. Raylan we thought was such a pretty girl's name, and then I remembered that it was this guy's name and I just couldn't get his picture out of my head every time I thought of that name. But I still think it's such a pretty name. Alright, the next name for girl, I love this name, but Hunter is convinced that it's an old lady name and he will not go for it whatsoever. Eloise. I think it's so pretty. It's like an older lady name right now, but I think it's so cute for like a little girl. It might be weird for like the teenager age Eloise, but I don't know. I still think it's pretty. I love the name, but Hunter 100% will not go for it whatsoever. Next girl name that I love is Willow, but again, it's a one that Hunter just won't go for. I think he thinks it's too out there and he just thinks of the willow tree every time he hears it. So that's just one that he just won't go for because it's too new agey. I don't know, but I think it's a really pretty and really cute name, Willow. I don't know. I think it's cute. Next name, I still really like this name and I would honestly consider it for if we had another girl. I think it's just such a pretty name for no matter what age a girl is. It's Anna. I always thought it was a very pretty name, so I would honestly consider it if we ended up having another girl. So that all just depends on how many kids we want to have, so it's probably not going to happen, but I do really like that name. And then the last name that I have on here for a girl name is Clara. This was also a name that we were thinking about for Aria. We really liked it, but then one day we were driving and Hunter said it in the car, and I don't know. I love the name Clara, but I think I like it if you say it with a British accent. I don't know. I just think maybe it's from the Nutcracker or something, but I just think Clara. I just think that's so much prettier than Clara. And then when Hunter says it, I just don't like it when certain people say Clara. It just like Clara. I don't know, it just doesn't sound right. So honestly, I didn't like that name just because of the way I heard Hunter say it in the car, and it just didn't sound right to me when he said it. So I still think that's a really pretty name. I just am paranoid about people messing up the pronunciation of it. Okay, so that's it for girl names. Now let's move on to boy names. Some of these boy names were actually on the list to name this little man, but have recently been taken off of that list for different reasons that I'll tell you. We have a couple names still in the running for this little dude, so we don't have like a name yet. We're like 98% sure on a name, but we're not telling anybody yet just because we're not 100% yet. Anyway, getting off subject. Boy names that we won't be using. First name on this list is Ezra. Hunter and I absolutely love this name for a boy, 100%, but if any of you have watched Pretty Little Liars, you know exactly why we can't use the name Ezra with our daughter's name, Aria. If you haven't seen Pretty Little Liars, Ezra and Aria are in a relationship together in that series, which they're like the cutest couple. But anyway, they're a couple. I don't know. I feel like if we named our son Ezra, people would think that I was obsessed with Pretty Little Liars. It's already obnoxious. When we were in the hospital with Aria, people kept coming up to us and asking us if we named her from Game of Thrones, and I've never seen that, and I didn't even know that there was an Aria in that show. I definitely don't want that to happen, or that to be the discussion in the hospital if we ended up naming him Ezra, and yeah, it's just, yeah, that just wouldn't work. Baby name number 2, I like this name, but Hunter's not a huge fan of it. So this name is Maverick, and I love the name. I think it sounds really cool. I like it, but I don't like the nickname Rick, and I don't know if that would be something that somebody would call him, but it's definitely a possibility, and I'm very particular about nicknames. Like, that's why we named Aria, because there's no nickname for it. I don't want people to call him Rick or Ricky, because that just doesn't sound right in my head. I just don't like that. That's the main reason, and also Hunter's not a huge fan of that name, so we won't be using Maverick for a boy, but I do like it. The next name that I like but won't be using for a boy is the name Elias. I love this name. I would name this baby Elias. Like, I just love it. But Hunter works with a guy named Elias. He likes the name, but he wouldn't want to name our kid that just because he knows people that work with that name, and he would think of them. You know what I mean? Anyway, so the next name that we both really like but think that it's too popular is Judah. And that is, I think, a very popular name right now. So we wouldn't be using that because it's so popular, but we do really like that name. We like that it's biblical, we like that it's manly, short, it doesn't have any nicknames, but, well, I guess Jude. But either way, we love that name, but it's just too popular right now. Okay, the next name, I really like it. Again, Hunter is not a fan. It's Declan. And I like the name. And then I saw a Psych episode when Juliet starts dating a Declan. If you guys don't know Psych, then something's wrong with you and you need to go watch it right now because it's like the best show ever. But she starts dating a guy named Declan, and that just like made me like the name even more. I just really like the name Declan, and I think it sounds cool, it sounds manly, but Hunter is just not a fan. I asked him once, I was like, so what do you think about the name Declan? He's like, no. What? No. Fine. The last name on here that I have for boy names, whenever we didn't know that Aria was a girl, we were thinking of boy and girl names, and this was at the very top of the list for boy names, but we both have come to the agreement that it's just a little too out there for a lot of our family members and like people around this area to kind of get used to. But it's the name Beau. And the first time I heard it, I was like, wait, what? Beau? Like a bow tie? But no, beau as in like the French word for handsome. And Hunter and I both thought that that was a very interesting and different but manly name. But the more we think about it, the more out there it seems. And it just seems like a name that might not sound right in like 10 or 15 years from now. And we want the name that we pick for our children to last them a lifetime. Duh. We just don't think that that name would be good for like the rest, like their whole life. I think it would phase out and it would sound funny. We do really like that name, and I think that it's a really cool name, but we wouldn't be using it. A little too out of the box. Alright guys, that is the end of the list of names that I like but won't be using to name our future kids and this baby boy. Hope you enjoyed this video, but now I'm getting more excited to share with you the name of this little guy whenever we make a final decision for it. I'm excited to let you guys know what his name is going to be. Stay tuned for that video. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and click the red subscribe button. It would really help me out if you did that. And if you want to, you can press the bell notification to get notified whenever I do post a new video on my channel. Thanks for watching again. Keep smiling, keep finding the joy, and I'll see you guys next week for another video. Thanks. Bye. You're not.
It's just as bright as it goes.
Yeah, but that's why I don't have it shining in my eyes.
Oh, and you use the mirror too.
because I'm smart like that. Seriously, fireworks right now. Tomorrow's 4th of July. Not today, son. Trying to record here. Ow. Ow. I feel like a turtle. Oh man. Oh, it shouldn't be that hard to get out of bed. What in the... Stop setting off fireworks! I don't know why I just did that. Do you wanna